Everybody talks about glass quality. Almost nobody talks about what happens when that expensive optic hits a rock at 4,000 feet. Field drop tests and years of backcountry data reveal something most reviews skip entirely. Turret durability and internal tracking decide whether a scope holds zero, not how bright the picture looks. The number one pick on this list borrows engineering discipline built for military optics, and that decision changes everything. Let's get into it. Number 5 on this list is the Swarovski Z5i BT, 2 to 10 power, 42mm objective. This Austrian-built optic matters because it proves ounces saved on paper do not always translate to versatility in the field. Swarovski Optik has built rifle scopes since 1959, and the Z5i line represents the company's push to compete with heavier American tactical optics while keeping weight down for mountain hunters. The slim 30mm main tube and simplified internal architecture are what let this scope shed weight that competitors carry in thicker steel components. Here is what most people miss about this scope. The same lightweight design that makes the Z5i so easy to carry on a 10-mile sheep hunt is the reason its magnification tops out at 10 power, a full 5 power lower than several rivals on this list. That trade-off was not an oversight. It was a deliberate engineering choice to prioritize weight and glass quality over long-range reach. This scope weighs 17 ounces, built around a 30mm tube with 80 MOA of total elevation travel. Compare that to the Nightforce SHV, which carries roughly 4 more ounces, but nearly matches this scope's low-end magnification, while extending well past it on the top end. The Z5i delivers 91% light transmission, among the highest on this list, through its 42mm objective lens. Reach is the real weakness here. 10 power is plenty inside 300 yards, but it starts to run short when judging a doll sheep across an alpine basin at 400 yards or more. Swarovski designed this scope for hunters who value carry weight and low-light performance over maximum magnification. Up next, a Czech-built optic doubles the zoom range and changes the entire equation. Number 4 is the Meopta Optika6, 2.5 to 15 power, 44mm objective. This scope matters because it offers the widest zoom ratio on this list, a full 6 power range built into a single optic. Meopta has manufactured optics in the Czech Republic for more than 85 years, originally supplying precision glass for industrial and military applications before expanding into hunting scopes. The Optika6 line reflects that engineering background built around a 30mm aluminum tube with Meobright multi-coating technology. Here is the engineering decision that changed everything for this scope. Meopta chose a wide 6-power zoom ratio instead of the narrower 4 or 5 power ranges most competitors use. And that decision let one scope cover brush hunting and mountain hunting without a magnification gap. This same decision is what adds bulk to the internal lens assembly. This scope weighs approximately 29 ounces, noticeably heavier than the Nightforce SHV and the Maven RS1.2. Elevation travel reaches 90 MOA in quarter MOA increments, with parallax adjustment reaching out to infinity, standard across the Optika6 lineup. Field of view runs from 33.6 feet at low power down to 5.7 feet at 15 power, comparable to other scopes in this magnification class. The trade-off is weight. 29 ounces pushes past the ideal range for a backcountry rifle system meant to stay under 10 pounds total. That weight penalty matters most on long pack hunts, less so on stand or truck-based hunting. Meopta engineered this scope for hunters who prioritize magnification range over minimizing ounces. Next on this list, a scope with a true first focal plane reticle solves a problem this optic cannot. Number 3 is the Tract Toric UHD 2.5 to 15 power, 44mm objective. This scope matters because it delivers a true first focal plane reticle at a price point normally reserved for second focal plane optics. Tract Optics operates as a direct-to-consumer company, cutting out retail markup to fund higher-grade glass inside the same price bracket as traditional retail scopes. The Toric UHD line uses shot HT glass paired with extra low dispersion elements borrowed from precision target optics. Here is what most people miss about this scope. Because the reticle sits in the first focal plane, holdover subtensions stay mathematically accurate at any magnification setting, not just at maximum power. That accuracy comes from additional lens elements correcting the reticle's optical scaling, and those extra elements are the direct cause of this scope's weight penalty. This scope weighs between 27 and 28.3 ounces, argon purged with a one-piece 30mm tube. Elevation travel reaches 100 MOA, and field of view spans 41.7 feet at 2.5 power down to 7.1 feet at 15 power. Compare that to the Maven RS1.2, which offers nearly identical magnification and field of view figures at almost 2 full ounces less. The trade-off is clear. 28 ounces sits noticeably above the sweet spot for a lightweight mountain rifle build. That extra weight matters on long horseback or backpack hunts, less so on a truck-supported hunt near road access. Tract engineered this scope for hunters who value first focal plane accuracy over minimizing pack weight. Up next, another true first focal plane scope closes that weight gap entirely. Number 2 is the Maven RS1.2 2.5 to 15 power, 44mm objective. This scope matters because it delivers first focal plane accuracy in a package nearly 2 ounces lighter than the Tract Toric UHD. Maven Outdoor Equipment Company sells direct-to-consumer, using that model to fund Japanese extra-low dispersion glass without the markup of traditional retail channels. The RS1.2 was built specifically for mountain hunters who need dialing and holdover accuracy without carrying a heavy target scope. Here is the engineering decision that changed everything for this scope. Maven paired the first focal plane reticle with an exposed, tactile zero-stop turret, letting hunters dial elevation confidently and return to a true zero every time, without counting rotations. That exposed turret system demands a more robust internal spring assembly than a capped turret design. And that added mechanical robustness is what keeps this scope competitive on durability. This scope weighs 26.4 ounces, built around a 30mm tube with 100 MOA of elevation travel. Compare that directly to the Nightforce SHV, which weighs roughly 4 to 5 ounces less, but tops out at 10 power instead of 15. Parallax adjusts down to 10 yards, and the SHR reticle family maintains accurate windage and elevation holds at any magnification setting. The trade-off sits in the windage turret. It remains capped rather than exposed, and the elevation dial lacks a push-button lock, leaving it vulnerable to accidental rotation if struck hard against brush or gear. Maven engineered this scope for hunters who need first focal plane precision without the weight penalty of heavier competitors. Next, the scope built around a tracking system with a proven record in the harshest field conditions on record. You have waited long enough. Here it is. Number 1 on this list is the Nightforce SHV 3 to 10 power, 42mm objective. This scope matters because its internal tracking system has built a reputation for holding zero under conditions that shift lesser optics. Nightforce Optics built its name manufacturing scopes for military and law enforcement applications before expanding into the hunting market. That background shaped the SHV from the ground up. Rather than using a single leaf spring erector assembly, common in traditional hunting scopes, Nightforce engineers this line around a heavier-duty internal architecture designed to survive sustained recoil and hard impact without losing point-of-impact alignment. Here is what most people miss about this scope. The same internal tracking system Nightforce validates on rifles used in demanding field conditions is standard equipment inside the SHV, not a stripped-down civilian version. That mechanical carryover is the primary reason this scope earns its reputation, and it comes at the cost of a narrower top-end magnification compared to some competitors. This scope weighs between 20.8 and 22.2 ounces, several ounces lighter than both the Maven RS1.2 at 26.4 ounces and the Tract Toric UHD at up to 28.3 ounces. Elevation and windage use quarter MOA finger adjustable clicks, and the SHV uses a fixed or side-focus parallax system depending on configuration. 3 to 10 power covers the vast majority of practical Alaska hunting distances, from brush encounters to shots approaching 500 yards with a trained shooter behind the trigger. The trade-off is magnification ceiling. 10 power falls short of the 15 power top end offered by the Maven and Tract entries on this list, a real limitation for judging distant game in open country. Nightforce built this scope for hunters who prioritize proven mechanical reliability over maximum zoom range. Weighed against every entry on this list, the SHV earns the top spot because it delivers the most field-validated tracking system at the lightest weight, a combination none of the other 4 scopes match simultaneously. Mechanical reliability decides which scope survives Alaska. Magnification range and glass brightness matter far less once a scope has already lost its zero. Which scope are you currently running on your Alaska rifle, and has it ever lost zero in the field? This video covers documented specifications and historical engineering context only, and does not recommend the purchase, ownership, or use of any specific firearm or optic. Subscribe for documentary-style analysis built on verified historical records, engineering research, manufacturing history, and documented technological development.